In the quiet town of Standard, Alberta, the spring of 1981 was shattered by one of Canada's most haunting child abduction cases. Kelly Cook, a well-liked and responsible 15-year-old, disappeared after accepting a last-minute babysitting job. Months later, her body was found, but her killer has never been identified. Over 4 decades later, the case remains one of Canada's most disturbing unsolved crimes. Who was Kelly Cook? Kelly Cook was a 15-year-old honor student attending high school in the small farming community of Standard, located approximately 70 kilometers east of Calgary. Described as mature for her age, Kelly was responsible, athletic, and popular among her friends. She had recently been elected vice president of the student council and was known for her leadership and kindness. Living with her parents, Marion and Mervyn Cook, and her siblings, Kelly led a typical life in a tight-knit town where children played freely and neighbors rarely locked their doors. That sense of safety was shattered forever on April 22, 1981. Get full access to the rest of the article and support my work. Thank you for supporting True Crime Weekly. On the evening of April 22, 1981, Kelly received a phone call from a man identifying himself as Bill Christensen. He claimed he had been referred to her by another local girl who had been unavailable for a babysitting job. Kelly had never met Christensen before, but she accepted the job. It wasn't uncommon for teenagers in the community to get gigs through word of mouth. Around 8:30 p.m., a car pulled up outside the Cook family home. The man never came to the door. Instead, Kelly walked outside to the vehicle and was never seen alive again. When she failed to return home that night, her family immediately became concerned. Calls to the Christensen home led nowhere. There was no such family in town. Within hours, it was clear. Kelly had been abducted. The disappearance. As word spread, the entire town mobilized. RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Officers launched a massive search. Local residents, volunteers, and law enforcement scoured the area on foot, horseback, and by air. Roadblocks were set up, and waterways were searched. Authorities released a composite sketch based on the earlier girl's description of the man who had also tried to hire her. Described as around 30 to 45 years old, approximately 5 feet 9 inches to 6 feet tall, medium build, clean-cut, and soft-spoken. Driving a mid-1970s full-sized American car, likely light-colored. The case dominated local headlines, yet despite intense efforts, no viable suspects were ever identified. It was as if Kelly had vanished into thin air. Discovery of the body. On June 28, 1981, over 2 months later, Kelly's body was found 200 kilometers away near the town of Chin Lake, close to Lethbridge, Alberta. She had been tied up, weighed down, and dumped into an irrigation canal. Horrible. Due to decomposition, the cause of death was never conclusively determined, but investigators believed she had been murdered shortly after her disappearance. Her remains had been deliberately concealed, and the location was so remote that it was clear the killer was familiar with the terrain. The discovery devastated the community. What had started as a bizarre disappearance had now become a confirmed homicide, and with it, fear and grief settled heavily over the small Alberta town. Investigation and challenges. From the beginning, investigators believed the abduction had been carefully planned. The man who called Kelly had used a false name, knew how to sound trustworthy, and had already called another girl with the same babysitting offer. This wasn't impulsive, it was premeditated. Key challenges faced by the RCMP included: no fingerprints or usable forensic evidence were left at the scene. There were no reliable witnesses who saw Kelly with her abductor. The suspect had taken deliberate steps to avoid detection. No direct contact, no doorbell rung, and a likely disposable or unregistered vehicle. The body was found too late for many forensic clues to be preserved. The RCMP followed up on thousands of leads and interviewed hundreds of people. At one point, a reward of $100,000 was offered, yet the case grew cold, with no arrests, no suspects publicly named, and no closure for the Cook family. Theories and suspects. Though no suspect has ever been charged, several theories and potential leads have persisted. 1. Serial offender theory. Many believe Kelly's abduction and murder could be the work of a serial predator. The level of planning and manipulation suggests this may not have been his first or last crime. However, no confirmed pattern or linked cases have emerged publicly. 2. Local knowledge. The disposal site's remoteness suggests someone familiar with southern Alberta, perhaps even the Standard or Lethbridge area. Police believe the killer may have had ties to both places. 3. The Christensen alias. The name used by the caller was fake, but the use of a referral from another local girl hints at someone who had done surveillance new names and perhaps even lived nearby. 4. Criminal profile. RCMP profilers described the suspect as a white male aged 30 to 45 at the time, with above-average intelligence, the ability to blend in socially, and possibly employment that required travel or flexible hours. Some former RCMP officers believe the killer may have moved or died before he could be caught, or that he may still be alive, living anonymously. Kelly Cook's case is still officially open, and the RCMP continues to urge anyone with information to come forward. Over the years, the case has been re-examined using modern forensic and psychological tools. Unfortunately, much of the original evidence, including any physical clues that might yield DNA, was either minimal or degraded due to the long time before her body was recovered. In the town of Standard, Kelly's memory is preserved by those who knew her and by those determined not to forget. A local park and scholarship are named after her. 40 years on, the phrase "the backup babysitter" remains synonymous with Kelly's tragedy. Her family still waits, her community still remembers, and investigators still hope that one day, a break in the case, perhaps through a deathbed confession, new witness, or long-buried clue, will finally bring justice for Kelly Cook. If you have any information about the murder of Kelly Cook, please contact the Alberta RCMP Historical Homicide Unit or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, 8477. Tips can be anonymous.